welcome to the first episode of To the Root of It Uncut. I have my bestie client here, Christine,
to talk life.
to talk life and her wonderful health journey, and we're going to get into it. And we're going to do this thing because she's got a lot going on.
Yeah, we gotta get rid of these canas right here and these gray hairs. Gotta make myself a little young.
Je know. All right, so what are we doing?
We're just gonna do all over hair color.
All right.
And then you're gonna blow it out, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna blow this bitch up. Out.
Yeah, I look crazy, but look at my skin.
Beautiful. What
glowing.
Have you been doing to make your skin
the
all
sea
nice
moss? Sea moss. I really do
are
feel
they
like
the capsules? Are
no,
they the spoon? What do you do?
It's the I call it like applesauce, but it's not the pills because people want to talk about the texture of it. Let's be real, y'all have had some worse things in your mouth. So this is actually good for you. No preservatives, no artificial flavors. So I love it. And I feel like you can
get it from.
The Sea Moss Bosses, my favorite.
I
go to him. Yep. So we love him. Love him and his wife.
She's glowy.
Yes,
look at that.
Now we're about to get a herded.
All right. Quick backstory though on how I met Christine. It was a couple years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she booked her appointment with yours truly when I worked at Ulta. And she was like just this instant light. Like, I truly do believe that God brings people in your corner for a reason. And I just knew for those 2.2 seconds that you walked in, bro, that you were like my soul sister. And I truly, honest to God, mean that because we just connected.
Yeah, we did.
And it was crazy because in your entire journey of our friendship, I didn't know that she was diagnosed with colon cancer. And because she just walked in with this ball full of sunshine light, that you would have never thought that that type of disease would still keep her glow, that she was just walking with this like beautiful spirit and it didn't bother. So tell me, because at that moment you knew that you had it, right? Or was it around that time?
It was like we had just met. It was the next time I'd seen you, but I didn't really know, so I didn't really say anything. And then I think it was the third time I saw you where I was like, hey, I'm about to have surgery, can you do my hair? Because we had just dyed it purple.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then we ended up it was that next time when we found out about it. And it was like, oh.
So when you found out, like, what was your first initial thoughts, feelings? Did you cry? Like what went through your mind?
So I will have to shout out my other friend, Lonnie, because she came to the hospital with me and she sat with me. I don't ever really let my kids stay the night anywhere. And they ended up going and staying at a friend's house. And that was like really hard. But I knew with my symptoms, I needed to go and like figure out what was going on. I felt fine. I feel like I looked normal and everything. And then I went and I had let my friend know, and she came and she sat with me. And I think with her being there, it helped me not cry. But I got really teary-eyed. And literally the first thing that even ran through my mind was my kids. You know, as a mother, you don't want to leave your kids behind, especially with my youngest being 8. You know, my older girls I've gotten to raise and really be there. And then my younger two, you know, they were 7 and 9 at the time when I had gotten diagnosed, and it was really, really hard. You know, that was the first thing that even popped into my mind was
your babies.
Like, Lord, please do not send my kids in the front seat of a funeral. And so having my friend there, it really helped like keep it together. She helped keep it light. And then it was, you know, the whirlwind of like, okay, well, what is this? You know, it took about...
Did you have to educate yourself like beyond what the doctors
right away, one thing I really loved about the doctors that I saw over at Honor Health was that they were very transparent and very open. The first doctor before I saw like the specialist, he was like, you know, this is pretty serious. It looks pretty serious. I don't want to sugarcoat anything for you. And I was like, okay. So I kind of instantly knew that it was serious. And then when the specialist came in and he told, okay, we're going to go do this and we're going to do that. And I'm like, okay. So he did a colonoscopy. Not fun, by the way. Not fun because when I had to do it.
Do you have to stay up? Like, do they?
No, they do put you under, but I'm talking about like the prep for it. So anybody that's ever had to prep for it, if you do it at home, I feel like the one at home is simple because I had to do one again. But the one that I had to do while I was inpatient is not fun. They give you like this ginormous, like, I kid you not, it's like this. We have pictures of it. And Christina was so like encouraging. She's like, you got this, drink your juice, drink your juice. Like, she was checking on me all night. And so we did that, had to do little TMI, had to do some enemas, and then went in for the colonoscopy. And when I woke up, he just told me, he said, everything I saw from my expertise and what I mean, he's been doing it for years. He's just like, it does look like cancer. He's like, but to confirm, we do have to send the pathology report out and get it back and see. And the one thing about having my chart kind of sucks, but at the same time, it doesn't. So I knew right away, before the doctor even called me, that I had cancer.
How?
Because in my report, I mean, hello, you just Google all the
Yeah.
And then I work in the medical field, I work.
So you kind of like seen like the.
So I kind of,
signs
yeah. So I
of
kind
it.
of knew like, oh crap. I just didn't know the stage and everything. And
What stage were you at that time?
so before anything, it was just a stage 3. They didn't do any other testing, and
Okay.
that's all they're like, okay, stage 3, we'll send you and refer you to an oncologist, but we need to schedule you to have surgery. And this is all happening around like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, right? So let's see, Thanksgiving passed. They scheduled me. December 5th was my December 5th of 2024 was my surgery date. So I went in. He told me that I would possibly have to have an ileostomy bag. I prayed so hard that I did not have to.
Girl.
And I do know when I came out of surgery, you know how everybody's like all like kind of cloudy. Girl, the first thing I did, I was like feeling my stomach to see if I had an ileostomy bag.
Oh, she went straight there.
Being loopy and everything, I was like, so I had a temporary ileostomy bag. I had that for 3 months, and then
How was that like though?
oh my gosh. Okay, shout out to Catalina. So
Okay,
my
her
17-year-old,
daughter.
oh my gosh, this girl, godsend. She sat in all of this with me. She helped me. She was literally like my home nurse. I did have a home health nurse, but my ileostomy bag would constantly pop off. So Catalina, in her loving self, whether she never made me feel like, oh my gosh, why do I have to do this?
Like you're a burden. Like,
She came and she helped me, and she figured it out. And so it was like, I think I learned how to fully rely on God. And so I really started to hit my prayer closet and just be like, all right, we're going to take this one day at a time.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. It helped with anxiety because, you know what, I'm not thinking about the future. Every now and then, I would have those moments because I would look at my kids and, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I want to be here. Like I want to see them all walk down the aisle. I want to see them all graduate. I want to see them have babies, like, and so I just kept my prayer the same, like, Lord, heal me, let all this, show me what it is that is in your will that you're trying to show me.
Yeah.
What is it that I need to do in this moment, in this season? And that is how I feel like I got through it, and you always have a choice, not just in like going through something like this, but like every single day you have a choice to wake up. You can either be happy or you could be sad. You can either feel sorry for yourself or you can move and be like, all right, this isn't the most ideal situation, but you know what? This is this is what's going on right now. This is what I was dealt with. And I'm going to handle it with grace, and I'm going to choose to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to show love and kindness and not feel sorry for myself.
Or have it dictate your whole life.
Yeah.
What you're going through. Exactly.
Yeah, because I also was never like, hi, my name's Christiane, I have cancer. Nah, like cancer, I'll tell you this, cancer never had me.
Period.
Nope. It did
No,
not.
it didn't.
And a huge part of it, they say, even the nurses that you talk to, they'll tell you the people that have that type of mentality where they're going to fight are the ones that usually they see live, and it's sad to say, but it is hard, because it's the worst diagnosis ever. I'll tell you that. Like getting that diagnosis was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
So many things running in your mind, like what's going to happen if something were to happen. Like who has your kids?
Oh my gosh.
Like
that was the hardest thing, I think, too, because like imagine having to talk to your 19, well, at the time she was 18, your 18-year-old daughter who's in college. She's over 600 miles away, and you're having to sit her down and be like, all right, like this is, my life insurance policy stuff that like you're going to be the beneficiary of.
Those
And then
uncomfortable
yeah,
conversations.
and then like, and it's so important because they are uncomfortable conversations, but you know cancer, it's not just cancer, but like parents should also think about, just in case something ever happens, have those conversations. And I think one of the most important things for people to know is like, you don't have to listen to one doctor, get a second
Second
opinion.
opinion,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think that is important. For me, I kind of was just like, whatever. Like, that sounds so bad. I wasn't like, whatever, but I could tell you enter this place of like survival mode.
Yeah.
Like, you really do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just like, okay, I don't want to die, so I'm just going to start and
Doing the
yeah.
things that you need to do to survive. Because, girl, you have 4 babies.
I was like, girl, I have
Hold
4.
on. I have 3. Sorry,
4, but technically 6 if we include
Mhm.
Carlos and Theo.
guys.
To me, it's 6.
Yeah. All right. So after that, you had to go to chemo.
So yeah, so we
right?
did. Oh my gosh,
Bye.
my first round, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore because it is the worst feeling in the world.
How long was chemo?
So I
Sorry,
was
hold
supposed to have it finished in June. I didn't finish until the end of September
It's okay.
because I took breaks. I listened to my body.
Yeah. And we're still listening to your body because you're not going to chemo right now, right?
So technically I was told that I need to be on chemo for the rest of my life, but I already shared with you like my thought process on that, where
Yeah.
it's like, how they tell us with antibiotics, you take it too much, you're gonna be immune.
Mhm.
Well, I've got all my test results back. For the last 6 months, I have had no signs of so
good.
lab work came back good. No signs of cancer floating around in my blood, nothing, 0. So I'm now looking at a more like natural, holistic approach, being cautious of what I am putting into my body, so like trying different things that I feel like will work. CMOS has been a great thing for me.
Good.
And then
And you know what's so funny? We still did her hair.
Oh yeah, okay. So
yeah.
let me explain. Okay, so they tell you that you can't dye your hair. Most people lose their hair during cancer. By the grace of God, I did not.
She did not.
Kept up on proteins and diet and all of that stuff. I can explain a little bit of the nutritious side, because that's one thing they don't talk about, and they should, because
what, the nutrition side of it?
Yeah, they don't. I didn't learn anything. I had to learn it on my own. But
because they should educate you.
They should educate you. While going through chemo, you're told a list of things that you can't do. So dyeing my hair, mind you, we had just taken it to purple. So I had purple money pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. So them telling me, so I'm like, oh, I can't dye my hair. And it's like coming out, and I'm like,
we were so depressed, remember?
Yeah. Yes. I was like, oh my gosh.
God.
Well, a nurse kind of messed up and goes, well, it's not that you can't dye your hair. It's just if you get on the scalp, it can create blisters, and then it can cause an infection because obviously your immune system's compromised because of chemo.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, thank you. I left that appointment. I called Rika and I was like, so if we redo my hair, can you just not get on my scalp? She's like, yeah, I could do that. And I was like, all right, bet. Schedule an appointment. And then we went from purple to pink because
yeah, dramatic. And now she wants blonde. And we're doing black today. She's fucking tripping.
It's just my fantasy to have different color hair.
But even at that time, when you still were glowing, bro. And that's what just trips me out, that it really was God's movement, bro.
It was.
Like, your prayer. Because I seen a lot of like my clients, they would just diagnose and they're just drained. And they're just falling asleep in my chair. Like, not you. You were just like this, let's do it, and it was just normal.
Yeah,
just normal.
because I was like, for me, one thing I realized was like, okay, we're gonna take this day by day, because you know what, me thinking about the future, because that depressed me. So for the first month, I will tell you, the first month was the hardest, and then I feel like there was just one day where God was like, okay, are you gonna get up and do something, or are you just gonna sit here and cry about it? At what point are you gonna not necessarily get over it? And in my head, I'm like, Lord, I've been here for my kids. I've raised my kids. Like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
You know what? And I can always say, you never know why it's happening to you. But in the journey, there's so many like things that you learn about yourself, and you learn like all the things that you stress out about. It's pointless. It's really like, it's done.
And I think that's
Like, I
hard for
hate to
some
say that.
people. And I can
Mhm.
even say for myself too. Like it's hard to keep on operating knowing like something negative.
And cancer, colon cancer is, I believe, the third most diagnosed cancers right now.
So
And
get yourself
so,
checked because
yeah,
it's
go
just,
get your booty checked.
even if you're not even developing symptoms, you know what I mean? Just go like
Yep.
your normal yearly checkups because you just don't ever fucking know. Especially because our generation, we're getting younger and a lot of people are getting diagnosed with a lot of
I
different
think the
things.
youngest I've seen so far has been 29 in what I've seen. And that is young. That is so young, because I think insurance wise, like, they tell you, I think 40, 45
Mm-hmm.
to, like, you should have your first colonoscopy. For me, like, when I got diagnosed, they told me to tell my siblings that 10 years from my diagnosis. So at the time I was 30, 36.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. Girl, I was like, my brain. Maybe that's why I thought I was 35. Anyways, I was like 36. Then no, I think it was 37.
Mm.
So I got diagnosed at 37. So my siblings, it goes back 10 years. So should start getting checked at 27. So I know my little brother did. And then,
That's good.
yeah.
That's
So, and then going through all of this too, I ended up losing my little sister.
Mhm.
That was, I think, the hardest thing. I don't think I've ever, like, I've cried, when my grandpa passed away, my grandma passed, those were really, really hard. But I'll tell you, losing a sibling is a whole nother thing. And then
While you're going through something
while
yourself.
going through that, yeah, the day that they had her funeral, I couldn't be there, but I logged in remotely, and because I couldn't travel. And I think that made it really hard, because I think if I would have been around my family,
Where did you have to go though? What was your funeral?
Alaska.
Wow.
So I think it would not have been as hard. But I remember I woke up that morning, and it was, my body is like natural response of like, okay, your body cannot tolerate this. So I knocked out. I literally passed out, and I slept until we did her funeral. I woke up, was present for that. And then the minute I logged off, passed out again. It was like my body's defense mechanism to stress in that moment was, okay, we're going to shut down because you cannot handle this. And people don't realize that. Like, if you sleep a lot, what's going on in your life, where it's like, again, it's a defense mechanism. Your body is protecting itself from, all the harm that can happen. The stress, like, people don't realize just how much stress affects your body.
Oh, it sure does. Because I created alopecia. Do you remember that? Listen, pause real quick. My alopecia was like, when I first found out about it, it was the tip of my finger. This bitch grew to like this in the back of my head. And I thought maybe it was because someone was blowing my hair. Pause. But it grew in stress. And that's the first thing the dermatologist asked me, like, what have you gone through? Like, have you gone through any traumatic surgeries? Or like, are you stressed? I'm like, listen, I'm a single mom of 3. My life is like overall stressful. But yeah, it was, stress can really like deteriorate your body slowly, and
in
you every parts of it. You don't even realize it.
Yeah. So I think it's important to look into like so many there's so many different alternative medicines out there aside from like Western medicine. So it's like learning and educating yourself, I think, is the most important thing. Like, I'll never tell somebody don't do chemo. Like, there are points where
if that's what's best for you, do it.
Yeah. And so it's like, again, listen to me. It's the biggest thing. Listen to your body, because we are not all the same.
So tell me, when you first found out that you were cancer free,
who
did you tell? How did your kids feel? Like, how did you feel? Like, what?
I was like, I didn't think I was gonna cry, and then she like confirmed everything, and like I was like trying to hold together, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, and I just started. She's like, no, it's exciting, it's exciting. And so the first person I called was Christina.
Did she cry?
I don't know. I don't remember if she did, but she was the first person I told. And then I called my aunt, told my aunt. And then after that, told the little ones.
Yeah.
And then I waited. And
then you told me. Hold on. You told
I was
me.
like, I told you. And then, but the first person was Christina. When I got diagnosed, this is crazy to me sometimes when I think back on it. So the first person I was going to tell was obviously my oldest daughter. However, she's in school. So the first person I actually ended up telling was her coach. Because for me, I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, I'm about to tell her this, and I don't know how she's going to take it, but I need a woman to be there for her, because, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry, because I couldn't, and it was like one of those moments where it was like, okay, my baby's far away and I can't hug her, you know, and you can't really travel
Mm-hmm.
because again, your immune system. But I called
Good
her
stop.
coach. I know, I called her coach and I said, okay, so here's what's going on. Here's what happened. I said, I'm going to call her later and I'm going to tell her. Like, I needed some time to pull myself together too, you know, because I did not
Mm-hmm.
want to be crying on the phone with her. And so her coach was just like, it's okay. Like, we got her. Oh my gosh. I always told myself I would not cut on camera.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
But it's real shit. It's
It
like the raw
is.
truth. It's, you know, like
Yeah. And, you know,
having,
it was hard because she's far away, you
yeah.
know. And so I remember I called her and she was at a, I think it was a basketball game, but I know she was at a game. And I said, okay, so I got my results back. You know, it's officially, you know, colon cancer, and I'll go in and see the oncologist. And she was just quiet. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, and I had gotten myself to the point where I was like, okay, you can't cry because she's probably gonna cry.
Yeah.
And so she was just
Oh
really
no, I would
quiet.
lost it.
Yeah.
I'm a
no,
crier. I'm a baby.
I'm a crier too, but I can hold it together. And so she ended up just really crying, and her coach was like, hey mom, like, we're here with her. And then I like secretly started just bawling because it was just like in that moment, like when you go through things like that, like your village and your tribe is who you want right next to you in that
Mhm.
moment. And for me, it's Christina, it's Catalina, it's Michaela, it's Jacob.
Mm.
Anything else, you know, I'm like, okay, love you guys all, but that is my tribe. That is where, you know,
Mm.
when I need positive, when I need correction. People think it's weird, but like my kids can correct me in so many things. And so, like, to have to sit there and tell them, you know, and again, when you get diagnosed, a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I got cancer. It's a, you know, that's a death sentence. I'm here to tell you, no, it's
No,
not.
it's
And you
not.
can still live gracefully and
Living
happy.
proof.
Yeah. You want to know what's crazy too to think about? So we were dyeing my hair all while going through chemo. While I was going through chemo, your immune system's compromised, right? I should have been catching every single sickness that was in the school that I was at, and I didn't. I did
Mm.
not. By the grace of God, I was healthy. Like, I still to this day like look back and I was like, how in the world did like I just go through that?
Mhm.
And you could rarely tell. And there was days where I was really tired and things like that, but you could not tell that I was fighting, you know, stage 4 cancer. You couldn't.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, well that's your proof right there that God is real, you know. And people were like, well, if he was real, you wouldn't have got diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, but there's also things that we do in our life where it's like, okay, we're eating and consuming all this food, we're not feeding or fueling our bodies the proper way.
Yeah.
So sometimes too it's like, okay, I want to lose weight. Well, sometimes not that I'm saying you get diagnosed with that, but you know, like, okay, well, we're going to get you completely healthy.
Mhm.
So if there
It's like
was
a second
anything,
chance, you know? We're back. We had to blow dry her hair because you never.
and she burnt me, you'll see it.
I did not burn her. Don't do
I
that.
pretended.
But we're going to roll these out and roll this first episode out as well. Thank you so much, friend, for coming in and sharing your journey with us, because I know it can be very overwhelming having to talk about it, you know. But
Yeah, you
I
made
feel
me
like
cry.
it's
I'm
very,
never supposed to cry
I
on
know, and
camera.
I think it's very important for people to know, because it's the type of like energy and conversations I have in my chair that means so much to me. Because even with our first initial visit, like a couple years ago, you poured into me. Even though we were talking about like single mom and like our baby dads and all these things, and I think that our friendship has developed even more and stronger because of your journey and my journey as well with other things.
Yeah.
Relationship. But we're gonna roll these out. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys.
And
This is
stay
To the Root of It
tuned.
Uncut. But thank you so much.
But stay tuned for the final look.
Yep. Bye.
Deuces.